What is up, Edge Traders? Lee Ryder here, Crypto Didact, and it's time to do another analysis video. Now, this past month has been kind of wild, but we're starting to see some stagnation. Now, does that mean that we're going to instantly start reverting to the downside, or do we have more upside? And that's kind of what we have to determine, right? But we're forming some nice ranges, so we can go ahead and take a look at that on the charts right now. So if we go ahead and take a look, we can just look over the past month. Crypto has been up about, this is total by the way, about 34% the past month. Past 5 days, about 0.1% down, so it's flat. On the day, about up 0.35% on the day. So we're hovering around flat for the past few days. This is a pretty common sign that maybe we're going to need to revert back to the downside just to kind of retest some of those levels that we've trudged through thus far, right? So, so going back to the monthly, you can see it's been quite a grind up. We've had quite a good month. So total, yeah. Now, it's probably no surprise that Bitcoin and Ethereum will look almost identical with this same run up. Maybe a little different when we look closer. Bitcoin, over the past month is up 41%, so a bit more than total, pulling the way. 5 day down 0.7%, and on the day is up about 0.34%, so almost the same as total. Say what you will there. Ethereum, let's go back to monthly and look, up 35% on the month. So once again, kind of tracking with the total there. 5 day, 5 days up 0.16, so leading there, right? And we'll talk a little bit when we get to the charts about how ETH is also leading in other areas, and not such great, but also has been leading for most of this charge, and we'll see a repeat of it when we go look at the charts. And then when we go down and look at the daily, we can see that, about up 0.26%, so a little less for the day. So yeah, really good month. Past 5 days, pretty stagnant. Let's go ahead and take a look at the charts and investigate what that means, and what we're going to do about it. I found a new way to do this. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically not use live charts. Now, oh, sorry, I know this is going to get weird for a second. I'm basically not going to use live charts, right? What I'm going to do is right before I do these videos, I take some captures of stuff that I want to talk about, I convert it into a PDF, and then I turn it into a presentation. That way I can do annotation and all sorts of cool stuff. Better than I did before with the screenshot and all that, because that was kind of cumbersome and took a lot of time. This will be much better, I think. So once again, let me know in the comments if you like it. Oh, yeah, if you like it, let me know. Get in the comments. If not, you can also, let me know there. There we go. Let me know there. So let's go ahead and get to the charts. So here we go. We have total. We can pretty much see that we've been trucking along, and we've had this big rally, and we had been in this range that I had, or we had at a group kind of talked about for some time. Now, I think I'm going to put my face down here. I feel like that works a little bit better. So yeah, we've been in this range, and we can see price action pretty much was honoring, these low sides and these high sides as we went through this range. For a while here, it looked like we were going to try to kick off above, but eventually we fell below and then started finding support again at this lower side. We've had our Easter egg trade there, and then we've been breaking through ever since. So this is kind of just the big view of where we've been. I just want to I like to take a big kind of larger view look. The last time we talked about and did one of these videos, we thought that price might revert a little bit. And where was that on the charts? Well, if we look, that was over here, basically. That was in this area here. Oh, let me get rid of this stuff here. Yeah, these guys. Okay, so yeah, that was in this area here. And so we thought, well, we might come back and mean revert, but actually we just came to the bottom here of this, this is the time frame Bollinger Band. As we've talked about, this large fat one is the fractal. Y'all remember these because, you know, it's getting time soon where I will no longer be here. So you'll need to, you know, kind of remember this stuff. Take notes. I encourage it. Yeah. So basically, you know, we thought that because we had broken out of here, and remember, if you remember from our lecture that we did, that when you get this time frame Bollinger Band that breaks outside of this fractal Bollinger Band, you can get these really good runs. And I'm going to delete some of this stuff, right? We've already defined the topic. And so I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Because if you look right here, you basically have this smaller Bollinger Band, the time frame, is outpacing the fractal, right? Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that your smaller time frame is getting really chalked up, like it's getting stoked. It's getting like ready to push. And so these are times we really want to pay attention, because oftentimes where you think, oh, price is going to revert, because generally it does. Like when I talk about, if you go to the training, you know, I talk a lot about that. If price goes to 2 standard deviations, all things being equal, it's going to mean revert, right? It's going to come back. But in this particular case, as you'll see, it will find supports up at this larger time frame and just keep going, keep going, keep going. And you won't only know it's done until you get this ledge formed, right? And you'll get price that starts moving inwards. Like we talk about this a lot. This one you could have held for quite some time because we are still kind of there, right? We can see this Bollinger Band is shrinking up. This one's shrinking in too. And this midpoint is still holding true, and it's still holding as support. So as we flail around inside the smaller time frame, what I'm really looking at is how we're acting inside this larger time frame, right? Inside of this fractal time frame. Now, inside of the time frame Bollinger Band, you know, we want to be paying attention because that's how we're going to be placing our trades day in, day out. But when we're looking for big, prodigious changes like the ones that I'm trying to talk about here in this channel, or this video, and this style of video, is I'm trying to alert you to the big changes. I'm trying to talk about the big things coming down the pipeline, and this is how we're really finding them. It's not looking at inside these tiny ones, right? It's actually looking at when price is going to these larger time frames, and then looking at what happens there. So that's kind of that one. I'm going to move on to the next chart, and we're going to look at total. We're going to zoom in a little bit, right? I'm going to actually zoom in on this area that I was blowing up with the pen earlier so we can get a little bit better view. And this is around the last time we had one of these videos, and I talked about that I thought price was going to mean revert back, and we'll kind of see, we'll revisit why that was, and then the slide after that, we will see where we are now. So the first thing too is we had price, and look again, you can see that price is coming out of this Bollinger Band, and this is such a good pattern. I want y'all to remember. You have the time frame Bollinger Band that is being greater than your fractal Bollinger Band, right? And this forms this envelope, I call it, right? And remember, we're on the hour, so this happens for some time. This happens for about 4 days, and for 4 days you had a prime opportunity to know that you're going to get these big spiky moves. That's where you can drop down onto your hourly chart, really catch the bangers, because now you know that you're in this envelope. You likely know that this is going to be the support again, right? And so pay attention. Also your midpoint. So same thing, this is something just to watch. Yeah, I talk about this a lot. Then what happened? Well, I saw all these wicks. As we talk about in the training lot, the wicks are what lead the way. We had all these wicks that are up against resistance. Well, I think price should fall, right? And that's basically kind of where I left it last time, right? Is that, like, judging from this, it looks like price should fall, but we've eked up a little bit higher. Now, not only did we not even fall that much, oh, sorry. So I'm kind of done with this one. This is where we were last time. Kind of the same thesis that I just drew out is what I was explaining in the last video. I think is a little more clear now that I can draw it out, but that is it. So we'll move on to the next chart. And this is where we are currently. Now you can see this is where we touched that last time, broke above that level I thought we would break away from. And so basically we're kind of flat, but not too far from where we were. So we're kind of once again forming this long giant range. And like we know, we go from ranges to expansion, ranges to expansion. So it looks like we're forming a range. The only question now is, does that range break up or does that range break down? That's what we need to investigate. That's where we can start dialing in a little bit more and looking at the evidence. Now, what we do know is this whole period, what has been at an extreme? The prime has been extreme. We know that when the prime is at an extreme, it will want to revert back to the other side. So likely, now it can continue for some time, but odds, the probability is as that stays in that range, the longer and longer, the higher probabilities that price wants to return to the other side. Now, there's no really getting around this. This is just what we have. So I still say, hey, I think price, we're at a boundary, and actually this is a double boundary again. Price should come back to the mean. We have gamma prime that is returning. We have divergence on this histogram, but the histogram is rolling over. We have the prime and extreme, and we have the SGA and extreme. We are at the 1. Now, not always at 1 does it turn back over. If it can stay above 1 though and keep going, we likely will see 2, 2.5. But that is quite rare now in a region or in a market in crypto where the narrative is still fairly negative. Now, yes, you do get these big, slow pushing moves that happen as the slow accumulation happens through hedge funds and private family offices and stuff like that. But now it seems like that this push is over and we need to mean revert. And that's what I'm looking for. So we can see it again from the charts. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. Okay? Oops, sorry. Hello? Okay. There we go. Oh, sorry. Total 3. Total 3, same thing, 1 hour. Let me make this a little bigger. Sometimes when I zoom in, it's too big, and then it's never too big, and then, yeah. So same thing. This was back here where this is where I was saying that I thought we would mean revert back to the other side. We actually did not. We've not only has this been more than support, but we found support far inside of this upper channel. Now, there's something I should note is that the fractal could just be a bit off for this time frame. Maybe instead of using a 24-hour period, we want to use something different like 4 hours or 8 hours or something. That's something you can play with, and really that will depend on the volatility over that period that you're looking at. But I'm comfortable leaving it like this because I can get the gist. When you're above, let me go ahead and delete some of this again because this is a perfect example of another classic pattern, right? Is that when we get price and this time frame Bollinger Band, this is the time frame Bollinger Band, that rides above. It's going to ride between some channel, either upper or lower. In this case, it's the upper channel. This indicates trend, right? Because what's happening is the price is settling into this upper band of the fractal period. So these are things you want to watch for as you get these right down here. As you get these squeezes, you want to watch this price come in, settle, and then form into this channel. This is quite huge. We use this a lot because then times like this, times like this, times like this, times like this are all time to be entering the market, not time to be scared. So those are entrance opportunities. As your time frame Bollinger Band blows out, it would likely be caught by that channel because you're in this trend. So that's another trick. Watch out for it. Check your charts. It's a good one. Okay, next we'll move on to Bitcoin, and not much happening here. I will note that we're starting to get some wiki wicks, right? And we want to be careful when we start to get these random wickings like this because that could indicate what? Trend reversal, right? We talk about that in the training. Wicks lead the way. Wicks mark the path. We watch wicks because wicks tell us basically where the volume is getting sucked from. In this case, we also want to be aware. Look what happens when we get price goes to an extreme like this. Gamma prime. Oop, gamma prime like this. So where we are now, we should expect some move probably to the blowout of the Bollinger Band, the time frame. So if I'm looking to get long here, I would be waiting. Now, if I'm looking to get short, I would not be, because you know I like to counter trend trade. I would be buying into some sort of resistance. So basically when the price came back up into this midpoint, then you can be selling because then you have a much greater odds. But if you buy or sell here, the odds are way more likely that the price continues back this way than continues this way. So if I'm trying to enter this trade short because I think it's going to continue, I am taking and waiting until price comes back to resistance and I see signs of it rolling over. Now, how do we do that? We do that through wicks. We do that through engulfings. Right? And we do that through the 3-bar reversal. So those are the things to look out for. Okay, now we move on. So what does that mean? Is that I think price, I think it likely wants to reverse. Same thing as total. We might be pushing higher. It's likely retail coming at the end. But judging by all these signs, I'm not seeing more price continuation as of yet. All the cycles are kind of tapped out. And you know we do cycles and fractals here, so that's what we're talking about. Okay, and then last but not least, I don't know what's happening here. Next. Yep, here we have Ethereum, okay? And this one is always a little wiki, but we are getting extra wiki here. Wiki. Oh, there we go. Just my tablet freezing up. We are getting extra wiki here. And we are outside this boundary here. So and look, gamma prime extended. What happens here? This is that same move in Bitcoin that we got on that extension. I think the same thing should happen here. We should get an extension. Now, if we don't hold here, we should be watching for that 1525 level, because we know if that midpoint doesn't hold, it's going to break lower. That's just how markets move. It's like physics for them, right? Like the speed of light. It's a constant. That's just how it works. And so that's what we're watching for. And pretty much the whole market, this is an indication. And I will delete this other stuff so we can talk just about this move, because really this is the move we're watching for the whole market. Oh, Shiza. 1 second, y'all. No ruler. Okay. Yeah, this is the move, right? I'm testing this thing's patience. This is the move. We have the breakout here. We are reverting back. We think we'll hold here, right? Now this was actually your entry point short. If you are already not shorting from let me go ahead and I'm going to delete this one more time just so it's a little bit more clear, but just, if it's unclear, rewind a little bit and watch the previous drawings, because this is going to be important. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this stuff. Now, generally I'm day trading, I'm getting in on these wicks here, right? I'm getting in on these wicks here. So I might have already been in short up here, but your actual, short entry was there, which you're actually getting. This is signs of reversal, signs of continuation of the downside, right? Signs of continuation. So what we're looking for next, our first target, T1, would be this midpoint. Now, when you go to an extreme like that, you're always going to touch the midpoint. Now, that's what happens. You go from the extreme 2 standard deviations to the midpoint. Now, then the market decides, do we stay at this midpoint and go back higher, or do we continue lower and push lower to the other extreme? And then you will almost always, and I should say almost always, but then you're going to come back to that midpoint and then make that same decision. Do I continue back lower, continuation with the trend, or continue higher? So that's why I often say when price is breaking, generally I'm talking about to the downside, but when price is breaking here, if you thought it was going to continue higher, right, you would never buy here. You would wait until price came back to this midpoint. And that's why you're going to have a lot of buyers that are waiting right here to get into that market. Yeah, they're waiting right here to get into that market because they know that's how markets work, because they think it's going to continue higher like that. So those are the things you have to watch for. That's what I'm watching for. As of right now, you know, we're still in this kind of like, I think the bias is down. So that's kind of it. That's all I have for you. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the doing the charts this way and doing, you know, the annotations on the screen. Let me know if that's helpful. Until next time, we'll see you. Happy trading.